Trump landing in Singapore ahead of the high-stakes summit with Kim Jong-un.
The North Korean leader arriving overnight. It's reportedly just his fourth known trip outside of his country since coming to power in 2011.
And you'll remember, no sitting president has ever met or spoken on the phone with a North Korean leader. President Trump set to be the very first one. And as we get new information and new shots on the ground, we'll, of course, bring it to you. Until then, we're going to bring in Sean Spicer, former White House press secretary. Sean, thanks for being here with us this morning. Historic moment. You've been behind the scenes with this president in moments like this. As best you can, take us behind the scenes.
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me. I think this is where the president's at its best. He's not so much tied to historical norms and protocols as you've seen. I think he's shown that he's willing to pull away from a deal, pull out of a meeting, and that's what makes him unpredictable. And I think that plays to his advantage because people know that he's not going to keep going down a path if he doesn't believe there's a good deal at hand. So while I think there's a lot at stake, and this is clearly historical, what makes this interesting is that Kim Jong-un knows that if the president sits down and, as he said in the first minute, doesn't feel the vibe, he may very well get up and walk out of the room. That's what puts a lot of the emphasis on Kim making sure that he puts something on the table concrete very early in the process.
Yeah, you mentioned it. President Trump said that he's going to know right away what the intentions are from North Korea and that it comes down to attitude. Here's what the president said.
You know, the way they say that you know if you're going to like somebody in the first 5 seconds. You ever hear that one? Well, I think that very quickly I'll know whether or not something good is going to happen.
So that's going to go on in this private meeting. And then what happens from there is the reaction and how the media portrays how this summit went down. Sean, you have worked, the president has been your boss before. You've worked with and against the media in your past. How do you think they will portray this summit, regardless of what happens?
Well, I don't think there's a bar high enough that the president can hit that they will deem as a success. That's been seen time and time again. No matter what he does, no matter what results he gets, there's always something about the process or the intrigue that didn't meet up to their standards. When it came to tax reform, it was, you know, it happened too quick. He didn't go through this process. I think if you ask any American who's realizing the benefits of tax reform and seeing more money in their paycheck or getting hired because companies are on a hiring spree, I don't think they care the process that was followed or whether or not 18 assistant secretaries filed a memo that turned into a PowerPoint that went through the normal process. At the end of the day, the American people care about results. And so if we can get a deal that shows concrete steps to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula, to undermine that threat that the United States and our allies face from North Korea, I don't think the American people really care what process was followed. But I think the press, and you're going to see this largely from the mainstream press, are going to really focus on what steps were taken, who was in the room, who motioned to who, what the handshake looked like. You know, I mean, all of those things, the intrigue is more important than the results for most of these guys.
We're already seeing that from the G7 summit.
Yeah, have you seen this photo, Sean? We'll just put it up on the screen. I believe we have it. This was at the G7. You see German Chancellor Angela Merkel on both arms leaning over at President Trump. You've got Emmanuel Macron next to him and Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. The mainstream media making a big fuss over this, saying that it was showing President Trump in a moment of weakness. What are your thoughts?
Okay, but let's just stop for a moment and see, again, this is where the results get lost. At the end of the day, the communique talks about all of them agreeing to lower their tariffs. So the president got results for the American people, and they're focused over what a picture looked like. So think about it from the American worker, the American manufacturer, or services industry, or the agriculture industry. We're getting results for the American people because the president is bringing a tough line and putting an end to generations of the American people getting taken advantage of through high tariffs. So what do you care about? What a picture looks like or the results that this president is achieving? And again, it's just amazing to me that the focus is on the picture and what is perceived in that. I look at them as all looking at the president saying, what do we have to do to solve this problem? They're coming to him, not the other way around.
There's a lot of defiance in that picture, for sure. Now, that was taken in Canada. Justin from Canada has been critical of this president, at least publicly, after meeting with him privately. Well, James from America, James Comey, tweeted this after his trip to Canada. This is what James Comey tweeted. He said, "Our national security relationship with Canada is vital and saves American lives. It was built over generations and is bigger than any person or dispute. This too shall pass." He's saying that we've ruined our relationship with Canada.
He's half right. We do have a strong and vibrant national security relationship with Canada. They've stood shoulder to shoulder with us in countless wars. They're a great partner and a true ally and friend. But just because you can be brothers or sisters or father and son, you can love someone dearly and still say to them, hey, in this aspect of our relationship, we need to improve it. And the fact of the matter is that we love Canada. They've been a great partner, a great national security ally. But in many cases, some of the economic aspects of our relationship are not fair. And this president's made it very clear that he's talked about the fact he doesn't even blame them. He blames our own leaders. So I think that Mr. Comey is interpreting this very badly, and the idea that he's taking the side of the Canadians as opposed to saying, hey, you have a president out there that's made it very clear that you can have a vibrant national security relationship while bringing up differences in our economic relationship to benefit American workers and companies is a good thing. That's what an American president and elected officials should be fighting for, is American workers, American companies. And that doesn't undermine the relationships that we have, whether it's Canada or anywhere else around the globe.
All right, Sean Spicer, on a very busy news day. Great to get your perspective
Thanks, Sean.
this morning.
Thanks, Sean.
Good to see you guys.
All right, believe it or not, we've got a lot of other headlines that we need to get to this morning. New overnight, on a serious note, we now know the identity of the